Internet. I'm developer advocate at Pantheon, Chris Reynolds. I'm here today with my friend Fatima from GitLab. You might recognize Fatima from DevRel at Pantheon of the past. We'll be talking today about GitLab, which I don't know that much about, so I'm happy that I have Fatima here to teach me all the things. And since WordPress is sort of my jam, we'll be talking about WordPress. Um, you might also know Fatima as the face of the Monday Merge, which I follow on LinkedIn. I don't know if y'all are following it, and if you don't, you should, because it's cool. And she does an awesome job there. But I will not do your intro for you. I will let you introduce yourself and let everyone who might be watching know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I feel like you covered a lot of the stuff. I'm Fatima. People on the internet know me as sugaroverflow. I've been working at GitLab for 3.5 years. I do DevSecOps, AI, and community building at GitLab, which includes a lot of the things like the Monday Merge and doing content for our customers and our community. Before that, though, I was at Pantheon for a few years and worked with the WordPress and Drupal communities for many, many years. It was actually one of my first jobs was in Drupal. So I'm familiar with the community that you work with, but it's been a while. So I'm going to ask a lot of refresh questions today.
Well, I'm happy to answer all of those, and I'm happy to ask lots of questions too. What exactly? How would you define DevSecOps? I kind of sort of have an understanding of DevOps, and obviously Pantheon has WebOps, which is adjacent. Like, what in your role does that mean, and what does that look like at GitLab?
So we talk about like the software development lifecycle. So starting from like an idea and then bringing it all the way to production. DevSecOps is development, security, and operation. So all the different parts and stages of that software development lifecycle available in one comprehensive DevSecOps platform, which is GitLab. So what that means on a day-to-day as developer relations, though, is kind of making sure that the content that you're working on and the sort of engagements that you're doing are speaking to the different developers that are a part of that. So you'll have developers that work across the whole stack. You have people that are really focused on security. You have people who are in the operations and the deployments of things. And so like when we say DevSecOps, we're trying to target all of those sort of developer personas that are working across a project from start all the way to finish.
Awesome, cool, awesome. Yeah, so let's talk about GitLab and WordPress, and GitLab and WordPress, and GitLab, WordPress, and Pantheon. Um,
Yeah.
I'm just going to bring up a screen that I have, if I can figure out where my controls are. Yeah, so I built a website uh, very quickly. Um, that is well, basically, I just mirrored the content of the GitLab blog because I'm a nerd like that, and I went through your branding guidelines and I made sure that it adhered to all of your branding and fonts and colors and things. So it looks really cool. And
That's a lot of work for a demo website.
yeah, I mean, I kind of go like, you do the thing, and then it's like, well, obviously there needs to be content, so I need to get content from somewhere. And if I'm going to get the content from somewhere, well, then I should get it from GitLab, right? That makes sense. So if I get it from GitLab, oh, but I don't have the featured image. So then I wrote a plugin to do side loading to like pull in this featured image, and then I go, okay, I've
You
got
did
this GitLab.
what?
Yeah, yeah. No, I went down the rabbit hole,
Wow.
and then I'm like, okay, I've got this GitLab blog. It should look like authentic-ish. The cool thing about doing that in WordPress is I did all this in the full site editor, so I haven't actually changed the theme. This is just using the basic 2025 theme that comes with WordPress.
Okay.
So that's kind of neat. But this isn't a live stream about how cool WordPress is necessarily. Um,
Part of
what
it.
Oh, it's part of it for sure. The cool thing is that this is coming from a upstream that I have on GitLab. This is Pantheon WordPress. It's a public repository under my Jazz sequence handle on GitLab. I know very little about GitLab, but I do know how to push code. So I just basically mirrored I basically mirrored the WordPress upstream from Pantheon's GitHub. I made a couple minor tweaks, like removing 2020 whatever themes that we're using. It's not using Circle CI, so I pulled that out. But pretty much this is all the updates that you would expect to see in the Pantheon WordPress upstream. I pushed it up to GitLab. And you can see it over here. This is my Pantheon dashboard. I'll make that a little bit bigger. And I haven't updated. There's a WordPress 6.8 update that my site is missing. You can see that it's running 6.7.2 and it's telling me that a WordPress update is available, so probably I should update it. So I'm just going to hit this apply updates. And this is just to show that I'm getting updates from my GitLab based upstream, and it's going to go onto my WordPress site. And I can see that, I think I should be able to see, yeah, it's got my custom WordPress GitLab upstream that it's using. So that's the baseline, right? That's saying, hey, I've got a WordPress site. Maybe I've got a bunch of WordPress sites. I want to use GitLab as the place to put all of my code that's going to go out to all of these different WordPress sites. So I can do that with this GitLab based upstream. And Pantheon will understand it. I can apply the updates. I can get the code, and then it's going to come out here to my cool GitLab blog and
And
show up over
remind
here.
me what an upstream is. It's been a while.
Yeah, so an upstream. So Pantheon has for every site that you have, it each has its own sort of separate Git repository that's on Pantheon. So you push code to your Git repository, and that's specific to that site. So in this case, this is the oh cool, something went wrong. Live demo.
Oh no.
So in this case, this is the Git repository for this site, but I can have an upstream, and so typically we have a bunch of like sort of standard upstreams. We have our WordPress upstream is at Pantheon Systems WordPress Composer Maintenance is also an upstream. So this is where most of the code really ships from for our WordPress site. We have Drupal upstreams. We have a Composer-based WordPress upstream. And this is like when you spin up the site, what the sort of starting code is, and then when there are updates, like there's a WordPress 6.8 update, it shows up in the dashboard with something like this saying, hey, there's an update to your upstream. And obviously, like these are updates that I put, those are matching the commits that are in this upstream's history, because
So like the changes that you made to the upstream as well.
Yeah, so I'm getting the things that are coming from Pantheon because I'm mirroring that repository, but it's also showing my changes to the upstream as well, and those are available to apply when something doesn't go wrong. So that's sort of the basic idea, is that I can do all the things that I would normally do with a custom upstream in GitLab if I want to. But basically, what else can I do? Because I don't know much about GitLab. I know that there's this auto DevOps thing that I have a banner for. I know there's a cool Git chat feature that I have enabled on my thing. I will kind of hand it over to you a little bit, Fatima, to tell me what I can do. And I will say that one thing that we could do is, if I wanted to, I could, like, I know that there's like pipelines and things, or like testing things that we could build out, but I haven't ever done any of that. I'm pretty familiar with GitHub Actions, less so with what that looks like in GitLab.
Yeah. So, like I said earlier, we are a platform. And so one of the things that is available is that you can do everything from project planning your code. So sort of things that you might be familiar with as a developer, or even as a WordPress contributor, planning issues, epics, roadmaps, milestones, things like that are all available in the plan stage. And then you can host your code like you have with your upstream. We have the web IDE. So if you wanted to click on that little blue button there, not that one, but the one that's
oh, this blue
edit
button.
Yeah. And so you can oh, sorry, the edit button. That's coding
That
your
button.
repo, but if you click the edit button, then you can actually open your code in the web IDE, which is a browser-based VS Code. And so you can actually make certain changes to your repository in the IDE and then push those changes to the repo or to a branch and open a merge request. And so if I'm making like a really quick change to something, usually if I'm doing like a handbook update for documentation, I'll just do it in the web IDE. It saves a little bit of time and it's easy to use. So that's a really cool feature. I think that helps with, if you have a team of different types of developers with different types of experience for quick editing. What else?
So
We
yeah,
have
if I
our,
wanted to, I could set my default PHP version to 8.3 or something, and
you could, yeah,
database version 10.6, and then I'm just gonna do update Pantheon YAML and
maybe
push
that'll
that.
fix your.
Probably not, but But what it
And then the
should do
other thing that
is I
you
should be able to
see it on
see that
the,
update. Yeah.
let's see.
But you can keep talking.
Oh, okay. The other thing that you had mentioned was that you had access to GitLab Duo chat. And so GitLab Duo is our suite of AI features, of which one of them is Duo chat, which is available in the IDE. So you can also see that over there. Yeah, in your web IDE, you will see it in your VS Code if you're authenticated with your GitLab account. You'll also see it on the UI. So on your project UI, you'll also see the same Duo chat, and it'll remember your chat across those instances. So like, if you're working on something in one place and then, back on the platform, you're trying to debug something, you can continue that conversation from there.
Oh, it'll remember. So if I ask it something over here, it'll remember it in the IDE.
It should, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Um, I'm a super big nerd about AI.
Yeah.
I've been using like a bunch of different like models, ChatGPT, Gemini, Anthropic, like all the things, DeepSeek. What is there? What is the guts underneath Duo Chat? Do you have? Can you tell
Mhm.
us what the guts are? What model it's
Yes.
using?
So we have a partnership with Anthropic. I believe we're on 3.5 Sonnet right now, but looking
Okay.
into updating that as well. And then, we're as a company feel very strongly about the privacy of our customers' code and the ethics of using their code to train their model. So we don't train on customer code or anything like that. But the back sort of LLM that's powering Duo is Claude 3.5. And then if you're using, and so that's for GitLab.com, but if you're self-managing your GitLab, and so self-managed is when we have agencies that manage their entire GitLab instance on some on-premise server, so they can manage everything from their data privacy to the LLM that they want to use for the Duo of features that are available. So on self-manage, if you're going to self-host your GitLab Duo and your AI features, then you can decide what you want to train that on and which model you want to use and what sort of data you want to feed into it. And so if you're looking for that like full total control over everything, including your privacy, your security, as well as the LLM that you're using and your teams are using, you can do that with self-managed and then with self-hosted GitLab Duo. On GitLab.com, we're using Anthropic.
Cool. Awesome. We do have a question, which
Oh,
is
hi.
probably not a question that I expect Fatima to be able to answer very easily,
Oh,
but I
nice.
can definitely jump in. How can I use tools like Elementor, which is a sort of a page builder plugin for design, and use GitLab to host the code changes and use the CI/CD features? We'll get, I think, to CI/CD in a minute. Elementor, as far as I am aware, stores its data in the database. So like if you're doing layout changes and things similar to like Gutenberg, also which is the default code default editor for WordPress. All the changes, the layout stuff lives in the database. If I was going to push, not that tab, this tab, if I was going to push this site design, which is all in Gutenberg in the full site editor. It's in my dev environment. If I was going to push it up to live, I wouldn't expect to see all of my cool design changes on the live environment because it's all that stuff lives in the database. I'd also have to like sync the database up. So the GitLab is just a place for code to go.
Is
I
there
mean,
a way to
not
export
not just.
Elementor changes, like from the database into code?
I don't know. I know that we have a partnership with the Elementor, and perhaps that is a question that I will talk to Miriam from Elementor tomorrow when I'm in press conference in Arizona. Um, I know some tools like advanced custom fields and other things like that do have a sort of an exporter importer like JSON based thing where you can do that and kind of
Yeah.
commit that to code. But database stuff, basically, like the general rule at Pantheon anyway, is that code goes up from dev to test to live, and database and content comes down from live down to test down to dev. There are cases like when you're talking about design stuff where that kind of gets messy because maybe you want to stage a design thing and it lives in a dev environment and you also kind of need to push that up somehow. Um, and there are some plugins that kind of solve this problem. There's the WP-CFM plugin that I am aware of that
Mm-hmm.
does sort of like configuration management. I don't know if it supports Elementor. I wouldn't be surprised, but it might. But that would be sort of what I would be looking at if I was going to do something that was combining a sort of GUI based design tool with stuff that you're putting in code. And hopefully that answers the question that we have. Okay, we were talking about AI. We were talking about
Yeah, you were gonna check
CI/CD.
if your PHP version got updated since you
Oh
pushed
yeah,
that
that's
commit.
right. That's right. We were gonna do that. Uh,
Oh, surprise! Happy
maybe it's just because
birthday!
I'm. Maybe I need to sign in.
I sure hope that's it. SSO will fix anything.
There we go. There we go. Update Pantheon YAML. That change did did show up in the
Very
updates.
nice. Was
Oh
that
boy.
really 8 minutes, 6 minutes ago? Damn.
See, we talk a lot. I talk a lot.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Let me see
Yeah,
if I
the
can hit the
context for
button
that
now
is
and see if
I
it.
was telling Chris I wasn't sure if we had enough content for this show. That's what I was nervous about.
Yeah, I'm
It seems like we're doing
convinced.
fine.
I'm convinced that I can talk enough to fill a 45-minute block easily. Okay, so let's say, let me go. So yeah, you were talking about AI, and we were talking about CI/CD.
Yeah,
Let's.
and if you go back to your GitLab repository,
Yep.
um, and then pull, I guess if you close chat and pull open the sidebar there, or full screen. Yeah. And so we talked about being able to plan your plan your project with the milestones and stuff. In code, you have the sort of merge requests, branches, so sort of things that are very standard for development setups. I think things that are unique to GitLab is under secure. You'll see that you have security capabilities, and eventually, once you set those up, you can have your vulnerability report where you can see any vulnerabilities in your project. So we have built-in SAST and DAST scanners. We had advanced SAST as well if you're an enterprise customer and you're looking for something more detailed. And so you can set up that security scanning, and you can set up specific thresholds and alerts to be able to catch things. I know that that's really important for a lot of plugin developers because you have to keep up to date quite often. So that's sort of special here. We also have like monitoring tools as well built into the platform. Like if you want to track errors or incidents, or if you have a
Oh.
service desk oriented architecture, you have people coming in with questions and you can answer them directly through the service desk. And so there's a lot there that I think is specific to specific customer use cases. So most individuals don't use everything, but they'll have like a
Yeah.
growth trajectory, right? Where you're starting to use the platform, you're starting with planning, you have your code, maybe you've set up security scanning using the AI features. And then once you're on there for a while, you can start using things like value stream analytics and like see how your team is performing over time, see, what maybe one sprint versus the next sprint, and see like what the velocity of that sprint was. And so basically anything you need, we probably have it. It's
Mhm.
just a matter of what is the problem you're trying to solve, and then we likely have a feature or a dashboard or something that can help you solve that problem.
Yeah. Yeah, and one thing that we've talked about previously on this live stream, not this one today, but like in a
Yeah.
past live stream, has been sort of using GitHub Actions in such a way that, like, if you have a custom upstream, one sort of implementation of how to test changes to that custom upstream is by creating a sort of canary site based on that
Mm.
upstream. So you have like a site, and that is just a representation of the code that is in the upstream. So you would install it like a WordPress, like a basic install, but then you can, like, whatever content you want to put in it, you can do all your testing and stuff and push it to the canary site before you actually deploy those changes to all of your sites.
Oh,
So
interesting.
one
So
thing,
even before dev, there's the canary site.
yeah, like, because you're working at a higher level, right? You're working at from the upstream, and the upstream itself, you would like maybe set up a Pantheon site for that upstream that
Mm.
is being deployed to through automation. So it wouldn't be like a consumer of the upstream, right? It would just be the upstream itself. Like, the upstream is the
Mm.
site code. Um,
Gotcha.
and that way you can do more development on the upstream and see what you're doing, and not have to like have a downstream site that like consumes that upstream, those code changes, and then test them on a site that is
Mm-hmm.
potentially live, right? Um, so that is a thing where we have a little bit of prior art for what those deployment pipelines look like from a GitHub Actions perspective. Maybe we can get Duo Chat or something to help us build a similar sort of pipeline for
Yeah,
GitLab.
absolutely. So, a GitLab pipeline consists of a GitLab CI YAML file, and Duo Chat can certainly write one up for you. So you could go ahead and ask it, like, can you, or I would like, whatever your preferred mode of communication. I'm usually like, can you give me a GitLab YAML CI file? But you can ask it something more like that, and it will also explain to you how those things work. That'll be a first.
Git
Like,
repository. We'll just do that.
you're playing it safe. Not going to say Pantheon.
Yeah.
I was going to say that'll be a first. I don't think I've used the word Pantheon
I mean,
in that chat window.
it might understand. It might.
Because it is trained on documentation. We might actually have a documentation page on
Yeah.
that. Yeah, back when I was working for Pantheon and maintaining build tools, there was someone at GitLab with whom I wrote a blog post about deploying to Pantheon. So the relic is there years ago.
How to build a deployment pipeline to push code from main branch to a remote Git repository. Set up
Your local
yeah.
repository.
Okay, we got
Well,
that.
you do have that. Yeah, there you go.
Create CI/CD pipeline, GitLab CI. Do a bunch of stuff. Configure push
Oh, I think
mirroring.
because you asked how, it gave you the
Yeah.
steps.
And then for more complex, okay.
You might want to ask for the CI file.
Basic GitLab CI file to do this.
I mean, sometimes I'm really hard on the AI and I'm like, give me a CI file to deploy to this exact remote repository URL.
Yeah. Well, I know that I set up a site that I was going to do this on, and then I forgot what site it was. So
oh no.
It's probably.
Do you remember when you set it up? We could probably find it.
Probably. I don't know. See, recently.
Can you sort by recent?
Yeah,
there you go. You can sort by created.
I don't know that one is the one. Maybe it is. No, that one's definitely a different one. I might not just need to spin up a new site.
Sure.
Let's see what Duo says.
There you go. Just copy paste.
And I can insert, so I can do.
Yeah, if you create a new file, you can insert it into the file.
So where does that file go? Does it just go into
Into your root, yeah.
Into the root. Okay.
Yeah.
So GitLab. Nope. .GitLab.
Yeah,
CI.
.gitlab-ci.yml. You don't have
Dot
the...
YAML.
Probably need the .yaml for it to know that that is for.
There we
Yep.
go.
And
They've
then
got
you
little
could...
foxy ears.
You can... They're tanuki ears. You can insert a cursor.
Tanuki. Is that a species of foxy, or is that the name of the foxy?
Tanuki is a Japanese raccoon
Oh, it's a
mythical
raccoon. It's a raccoon.
mythical
It's orange
creature.
though. But it's orange.
Yeah, red, brown, in the color family of orange.
I think I have actually seen pictures of Tanuki.
Yeah.
Okay. So it says push to remote, deploy. There's the image that it's using. I assume these are all sort of like cached in similar ways that like there's a bunch of
Yep.
cached images that GitHub Actions uses.
I think it like explained it to you if you scroll down.
Probably it did. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so it says I need a SSH private key.
Which you should have since you set up the repository.
That's probably accurate, yeah.
Okay.
And it needs a remote host and remote repository URL. And it looks like it's looking for variables.
Get config variables,
yeah.
which you probably have on your local environment.
Probably have them on my local environment. I probably
But
don't
you're
have
on
them.
web ID, yeah.
Yeah, I probably don't have them here. So I know that if I was in GitHub Actions, I would be able to get these things from like
The
shared
variables?
server variables. Yeah,
Yeah,
is there
we can create those.
Cool.
So on your, this is the, settings, and then under settings, CI/CD.
Okay.
Fourth from the bottom, and then under the variable submenu.
There we go. Yep.
Add variable.
And it would be available to all, and it's visible, and okay, and then so I would do
So
something
the key is
like
the,
yeah. So let's say we'll do that one.
Yep. You could also take out, you might not need the SSH.
And we'll something.git. I'm not going to do that right now, but we'll assume that I had a thing and that I was going to push it to the thing.
Our pipeline's going to fail, and we know it.
Yeah, no, it's going to, it's fine.
Actually, this might be really fun. We do have, so one of the Duo features is root cause analysis, and it runs on failed pipelines. So, like when your pipeline is failing and don't understand what the error means, that Duo will pop in and be like, here's what the error means and how you can fix it. And so this might be a fun way to test root cause analysis. It'll be like, your remote repository URL is
That sounds great.
Okay, great.
Does it get these things from like my account because I own this repository, or are those variables that I'd need to set too?
I'm probably not clear on that.
Probably need to set those because those are going to be going to Pantheon. So that's like the
so.
username and user email that would be connected to the Git commit. So if I didn't have a user in Pantheon that was allowed to write to the repository, then it would just reject it. So that makes sense.
It might be because of the remote URL. That's not something I've tried before, but I'm looking at the documentation page to see, like, there's some predefined variables. That's the first time I've seen the Git configuration, but that it might be the remote because it is a remote repository.
So we're gonna call it Chris Reynolds robot.
Yeah, so the SSH stuff is needed and the Git stuff is needed is because you're pushing to remote.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. And then it's creating an ID RSA. So then I would need my SSH key goes here. And then
there's most secure SSH key ever.
Yeah, right? Right? All right. So I have this pipeline and seems like we should just be able to do it and then figure out if it works.
Yeah.
So we're gonna add GitLab CI pipeline.
curious if it's gonna fail. It's probably gonna fail in the fake private key first.
So where would I actually even go to see what it's doing?
Oh, you would go to build
Build
and then
pipelines.
pipelines. I got it. Uh-oh, you have to verify your account. Oh, but everything, it looks like the pipeline did fail. Let's take a look at the pipeline first, because that might not be necessary. Let's see. So that's the change that you made, is adding the CI YAML. And then if you click, the hyperlinked ID for the pipeline.
Need to
Okay,
verify
so
my
you
account.
can't until you verify your account. Oh,
I
you
will
should
move that
probably.
off the screen.
Do, 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 do. I'll keep everyone busy in the meantime. So what we're expecting to see while Chris verifies his account is that the pipeline has failed. However, we'll see like the little pipeline tree, and we'll be able to click in. And since we're pushing, we have one stage defined in the CI YAML, which is the deploy stage. However, when you're working with, a larger project, you might find that you have multiple stages. So you might have like a testing stage where you run all of your tests and make sure that they pass. And if they don't pass, you don't move to deploy. And you might have like a test stage and a security stage and then a deploy stage. And so the pipeline tree that we're about to see once the account's verified is sort of a great visual way to see like where your project is in the process of deployment and in the process of setting up all of those automated scans and testing. I was talking to a friend over the weekend. I was like, I don't remember any WordPress. Like, tell me what you know about WordPress and GitLab. And he was like, well, one of the projects that we successfully have on GitLab is like a very large university that has a lot of multi-sites in WordPress. And so when we deploy a change to the main upstream, we can then look at the deploy tree and like see all of these like 100 sites and how they're going through the test, secure, and deploy stages, and kind of visually see which of the pipelines are passing and not. And so as your project grows, your pipeline tree continues to grow as well.
I just spent a lot of more time than I expected trying to solve weird visual puzzles.
Oh no! Are you a robot, Chris?
apparently, it thought I was a robot. Okay.
Okay, cool. Now if you click the pipeline failed, we might have to rerun it because at the
Yeah.
time that it ran,
Right.
it wasn't
So do we go to
maybe we can go to the pipeline editor,
go to pipeline editor?
but there's nothing wrong with the pipeline. Everything syntax is correct. Where can I rerun? Usually from build pipelines, I can rerun the pipeline.
I could just also make just a line break change.
Sure, try that. Maybe that's what it's waiting for. It does say YAML invalid for some reason. Oh, because of identity verification. Okay. Let's see.
Okay,
It's
now
running.
it's running.
Fingers crossed. Okay. And then if you click on running there, oh, I wanted to show them the pipeline tree that I talked so much about.
Oh yeah, and I zipped right by it.
Oh, did you? Pipeline. Oh, the status will go directly to the thingy. If you click on the pipeline ID,
pipeline ID, that is this one.
under there. Yeah, that should maybe take us to
there
the
we
view.
go.
Yeah, and so we just have one tree, which is deploy, but ideally you'll have like a bunch of things here. And so in each stage, you can also have different tasks. And so for deployment, you might have like a decoupled site that deploys, two things separately. And so you could break that up into two different types of deploys, and they each have their own sort of dependent set of actions. And so sometimes here you'll have like 4 columns and 4 rows and like different things are happening, but that's the beauty of automated testing, right? You have a lot of flexibility here to build out however complex your CI pipeline might be.
Yeah, so let's actually I'll talk to the AI again.
Do you want another stage?
Yeah, I want to run PHP CS on my
test.
WP content directory before pushing the code. So like I want to run sniffs on my code before I
Yeah.
push it up
So you
and
want a
do
test
the
stage, and then
yeah.
it should give you, hopefully, the PHP CS command, which vaguely, like, as you were writing that, I was like having like a flashback. Like, I was like, I have been here before. Minus the AI, because back when we were running PHP CS testing, there was no AI, and you couldn't figure out why the tests were failing. Yeah.
All
Oh,
right,
a
so
quality stage. I like that. That's fancy. I thought it was going to come up with a test stage. And so you can see it's defined your PHP CS stage there before your push to remote.
yep. Yeah. So let's just do that, and I will
Yeah,
insert
that's
that,
the
and it should just
easiest.
replace all the things. Yep. So it's going to, uh, it's using PHP
Install.
7.4 CLI and it's going to get git and unzip, and it's going to do get composer, okay,
Mhm.
and then it's getting code sniffer, and I didn't tell it to do
But it
WordPress coding
knows.
standards, but it understood that we were on a WordPress site. And we want WordPress coding standards, so that was pretty smart of it.
Yeah.
And it defines the path,
And then
and
it
it
runs
sets
the.
the standard, and then it runs the standard on WordPress against WP content on the main branch, and then it does the push. Sounds good to me.
All right.
So
Commit.
add a PHP-CS step before
Although our
deploying.
deployment's still going to fail because our
Still gonna
variables are all
fail, but we
fake.
should,
Yeah.
but we
But you'll
should
get
be able to at
another
least
bubble.
see. But we should see the first step, right?
Yeah. You'll get two stages on the deploy tree.
What did I
Oh,
do
that's
wrong?
right. You had to pull first
To pull first. Okay.
because you made a
That's
CI
right.
change.
That's right. That's right. Okay. How do I pull things down?
Ooh, I think in that drop down, this is new territory for me. Sorry. So where it says commit and push to main as the
Oh,
action.
that drop down. That's a new branch.
Hmm, let's see. Um,
Is that
I'm looking at the repository and opening it in Web IDE because there are some things that you only know through like your mouse moving around as opposed to like some things I just don't remember.
mm-hmm.
It must be in the source control menu somewhere. Let's see. Web
Yeah, I would expect
IDE
that.
full code. Let's see.
I could also ask, how do I pull code into my web IDE
If you have
before
committed
committing
changes.
this?
I wonder if it's in the, you could try the Command Shift P.
Command Shift P.
Like
Command
maybe it's in
Shift
the,
P. Oh, yeah. Pull.
like,
Nope.
full. Nope. It was worth a try.
Oh, local history.
Oh, well, that's fancy. Okay. Find entry to resolve. Yeah, okay.
Sure.
But that's a local history, not it's not the branch history, right?
Yeah, probably not.
What happens if you click on your bottom left, on the bottom left of your screen?
Bottom left of my screen.
You see the branch name?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's just new branch.
I mean, I could make a new branch.
That might be the easiest.
Add.
That's strange. Yeah. How else do you commit changes, source control? Is there a different button on the side for source control?
Just that one.
No, just that one.
Commit
All
and
right, well,
pushed.
so that'll go to the branch, yeah.
Although that.
We can always follow up on that. But then you'll have to merge main into the branch.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, we can open a merge request.
There we go. All right. I'm going to put my code back in here. In this branch, which is right there. Insert it at cursor. We do that.
Oh, I see you. Yeah.
Okay. Then we add that. We push it to that branch.
Create MR.
Create MR. Which this is actually new territory. I'm used to calling it pull request.
There's merge request here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
merge request is a new thing.
But like
Merge
it's
request
a
is
better word because like you're merging the code, you're making a request to merge the code into
that's
main.
true. Yes. Yes,
I
that
just
is
put that
true.
out there. That's all I'll say on that.
I'm not saying, yeah, no, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a
I'm just
different
teasing.
thing that I didn't recognize. And but I was at DrupalCon last month, and that is what they're called in Drupal because Drupal uses GitLab.
That's right.
So I had to change my brain. Add PHPCS. This PR adds a PHPCS step
Yeah.
before the deploy. And we're going to create a merge
And
request.
so just as a info tidbit, like when you're using CI, you can also have like merge request specific tests or like stages that are only run on merge requests. So if there's like additional amounts of testing that you want to do, if you want to set up like a deployment preview, things like that, you can do that in the CI YAML. And there's certain
Okay.
parameters that only make it run on a merge request. And so that's also an option for merge requests. Like our GitLab blog will do a preview that we can like then share internally and like take a look at.
I
That
feel like
really
this is
helps
a
a lot.
rabbit hole I could go down really, really far.
It really
uh,
is. It is.
all right. It says
Your
there was a
conflicts are
conflict.
probably with
There's
the
my
empty
conflict.
line. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to use ours.
Yeah. Because we need the PHPCS.
Yeah. And then it
Nice.
should say, now it says it's ready to
Merge.
merge. And this is cool because it's giving me an option right there to delete the source
That's
branch,
right.
which I basically always want to do. And it's
That one
giving me an
that's
option to
always
squash
on by,
commits.
yeah, you can squash it and then you can edit the commit message. But I think your commit message was pretty good. So,
My commit message is probably fine. So then when we're going to merge,
ta-da!
and now there's a pipeline.
That's the main pipelines running. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, there you go. So now
And
you
there's
have
my
your
quality
quality
step.
stage. And then what's interesting, what we can talk about now is under the quality step, you're running PHP-CS. But if you had like something like TypeScript also on your site, you could also run a separate job within that stage to run the tests on the TypeScript. And you could set it so that both of those have to pass in order to move to the next stage. And so you could see people will start to get really complex with sort of the sub-testing and subcategories of quality there.
And it failed.
Uh-oh. It failed on...
Looks like some composer thing.
Interesting.
Because there's a composer installers thing.
Are missing?
Looks like. Well, I think because it maybe didn't have access to change. Yeah, to allow the plugin, the composer plugin. So that would be a thing that we would want to just change probably in that line right here where it's doing this. What does it actually say? Run composer global config, no plugins, yada yada yada. So I could just probably copy that and put that right here, and then do true. So it's going to allow the thing before it runs. And we're on that branch, which we've already deleted, so we don't want to do that. We want to change my branch to main. Any unsaved changes will be lost. We'll hold on.
Let's just copy it. These are the tribulations of working in the web IDE. It is a bit limited, I will say, compared to like a complete IDE.
Yeah,
I remember like a few years ago, like maybe a year and a half ago, we didn't even have like, you couldn't debug in the web IDE because that wasn't a feature. Like that wasn't a feature that was released, right? Like, and so that when that came out, I was really excited because I was like, this is slowly coming to a full-fledged IDE. But occasionally I mean to like close the file and I just close the tab.
Right. Yeah, that is definitely the danger of working with the web IDE.
So it's got to be like in small pieces, right? Like I'm doing one little thing and I'm not like working on an entire project.
Now what failed?
Oh, unable to create pipeline, cannot find expected. Did the merge request cause
Unexpected.
like a YAML error? Let's see.
Oh, I did something
Pipeline
wrong.
failed. Oh yeah, see.
Oh, it's a line
Um,
break. Yeah. There we go.
oops.
That one, I think. Yep, that is correct. Fix typo. Live demos. All right.
You're doing
Yeah, no,
great.
I do find that like web-based IDEs are just kind of handy because sometimes it's easier to just jump in, like hit the period and jump into the code
Yeah.
without and not have to worry about.
And like it looks like you have Duo code suggestions turned off in your web ID.
Okay,
Might be off by default. You'll see on the bottom middle of your bar.
bottom middle. Oh, Duo. Yeah, there we
Let
go.
me see. So you could like turn on suggestions. So one benefit of using sorry, if you click that again, I think you turned on chat.
Oh,
The second one is
oh, there
disabled,
we go. There
the
we go.
second option.
Code
And so
suggestions
you
only.
could get suggestions as well. And so sometimes, like when I'm editing something like a README file, I'll just do it on the on
Yeah.
GitLab.com and just edit in line. But if I'm doing something where like I could benefit from the suggestions, which honestly, even when I do like handbook updates, like it'll also give you like sentence suggestions because
Mm-hmm.
it's been trained on all of that. And so that's when I'll open the web ID. But if I'm working on like several files of code, definitely gonna go local because I have a tendency to close the tab. The command W is just such a trigger for me. Yeah. Oh, it looks like it
Yeah, it's a
failed.
WordPress CS thing because it's looking for sniff like specific standards that probably aren't installed
Mm,
because
okay.
it suggested a particular way of installing uh, WPCS. So actually, what I know I can do is instead of requiring that, what I will do is I'm going to require Pantheon systems. Uh, what do they call it? Pantheon WP coding standards, and then I'm going to use Pantheon systems, Pantheon WP coding standards, because I know that
Um,
has stuff that I want.
and you can also do there's like a allow failure parameter. So if you want deploy to run even if PHP is failing,
Mm-hmm.
you can add that too if you wanted to.
Okay. Yeah. What does that look like?
And so in line with like stage image, you'll do allow underscore failure and set it to true.
Okay. So
So
that
like
would
one
be
indent in
allow.
underscore failure and true. Yeah.
Okay.
And it was about
Use
to give you like a bunch of caching details.
use
It's like, well,
Pantheon.
generally when people allow things to fail, they also cache the previous successful run.
That's fair.
Well, this is a demo. I did hear some music. What did the music mean?
Uh,
Time check?
oh no, the music meant my cat was jumping on the piano downstairs.
Wow, I
sometimes,
love that.
sometimes our cats play instruments.
That's great. I love that. I'm definitely on cats that use buttons TikTok, where a cat will press
yes,
button.
yeah. There's one that I've seen a bunch of times, and I really appreciate the conversations that he has with his owner.
Yeah, it's running, and it seems to be taking a while. So, oh nope.
Yeah, okay. Oh, maybe because it's still running the WordPress standard, which is not actually the
Not the
standard that,
Pantheon.
yeah,
Yeah.
do
Oh yeah, we didn't
Pantheon.
update this line.
Yeah. Set the standard. While that is doing, So this is cool, and I'm probably going to be able to see all of these cool changes over here when I
Oh,
check,
that's right. Yeah, let's check.
because there'll be
Drum
lots.
roll.
Yep.
There it is. All of them.
So we talked about pipelines. We talked about Duo Chat. What other cool things can I do? And we also looked at how to enable Duo Chat in the web IDE. I assume that the same little button appears in VS Code if I was going to use VS
Yes.
Code. Um, there's a whole like VS Code rabbit hole that I didn't go down
Yes.
deliberately because, as I was telling you before we went live, I already have like 3 different AI assistants in VS Code. So I for the purpose of today's demo, I didn't install a fourth. Um, but
Makes sense.
yeah. um, but this is all really cool. What other things? What other things are should we be thinking about or talking about with regards to things I can do on GitLab? Oh, now I've got a little warning sign.
Ooh, let's take a look at that.
Okay,
It failed
so
with
it
a
failed.
warning.
It failed there. Because it was still looking for specific sniffs.
Yeah.
But it continued because we said allow failure.
Right.
Um,
Pipeline ID. Yeah.
and then it failed there
That also
because
failed because all of our stuff is
because
fake.
all of our stuff is wrong. Yeah. Yeah, because the SSH key isn't a real SSH key, which is fair. That's very fair.
So I'm looking to see if I know that you're on like a free we have you on the contributor version of Duo, and so I'm looking to see why we're not getting. So we have a feature called root cause analysis that helps us troubleshoot pipeline failures, and I'm not seeing it appear there for you, and so just looking to see if there was something specific to root cause analysis.
But it looks like if I wanted, I could say, hey, there's an issue with this job.
You could, yeah,
just
create
create
an
an issue.
issue. Like if you saw
That's
that it
pretty
was
neat.
something recurring, right? That you were like, oh, we always seem to have this problem. We need to like use the correct something or do a correct something, and you could create an issue for that and then assign it to someone.
And then Chris makes a comment. Yeah, it's because all of our secrets are fake.
Wait, I want to go find this issue and leave a comment on it. You're like, what?
I don't know how many people are watching, but if there's anybody watching that has questions about GitLab or WordPress and GitLab, or GitLab and Pantheon, or GitLab and WordPress and Pantheon, happy to answer them live, or in the future, if you see this feature you past us, you can always leave comments in the stream, and somehow it'll get to me, and I can answer those as well. Do you have, as we're getting kind of close to time, do you have sort of parting-ish thoughts, things that we didn't talk about that you would like to talk about more?
One of the things that I'm really excited about, and I'm not sure if WordPress developers are very excited about this, is that we we integrate with MLflow, which is a application that allows you to keep track of your model experiments. So if you're working with AI and you have models that you're testing as a part of your application, or models that are just part of your application, and you're trying out different types, and you want to see how they perform and the results of your test that you're running, there's on that sidebar of many wonders, there is a analyze toolbar, analyze section, and under analyze is value stream analytics, contributor analytics, things that track the metrics of how your projects are performing and how the people on your projects are performing. I don't think you'd have much in there under value stream analytics, but model experiments is one of the newer ones where if you have models, AI models or LLMs as a part of your projects, you can sort of track them here and see how they're doing. And it's kind of a dashboard to measure that. And so I'm really excited about this. It's something that I haven't played around with yet, but I think it's really cool. I know MLflow is really popular with the AI MLOps community. And so it's exciting to have that integration built in, and I'm excited to see what people will do with it, but it's also something that's sort of on my radar that I love to share.
So the theme that I'm hearing is that there's lots of AI stuff, and you found a lot of different ways of integrating AI into sort of a variety of different kind of workflows and into the platform itself.
Yeah. So these are all the features that are currently available. The ones that we talked about, the chat, the inline code suggestions, the troubleshoot for CI pipeline. We also have for the security stuff, we have vulnerability explanation and vulnerability resolution. So when you're looking at a vulnerability in your vulnerability report, either Duo Chat can explain that vulnerability to you and sort of offer to you different ways that you can remediate it. But there's also a button that'll be like, just fix it for me, in which
Mm.
case it'll create a merge request to attempt to fix the vulnerability and let you review it before you merge it in. So that's also really helpful. If you're dealing with a lot of different dependencies in package management, you might have a lot of vulnerabilities and you want to make sure that you address the critical ones as soon as you see them. And it helps a lot if the AI writes like 80% of it for you, sometimes 100%, but occasionally you do need to review the details on that. So that is another thing. And then part of the ML sort of stuff is the ML experiments view, where also we have GitLab Duo workflow in beta right now. And Duo workflow is an agentic AI solution. So imagine a future where you open an issue and Duo just builds the thing for you and gets the merge request ready for you to review. And so that particular AI feature that we're moving towards is currently in beta. We're testing it out with some of our customers and community. But one day, maybe we'll come back to this stream and we'll have our agentic AI like build things for us. So I think that's where we're headed, where we have this autonomous agent that collaborates with you like a pair programmer, but also kind of a pair programmer who writes merge requests that you can review. So
Yeah.
kind of going beyond the prompt based of the chat and moving to something that like does the work for you. So we are definitely on that trajectory.
I definitely like the idea of the "fix it for me, please" button. I
As
kind
much
of
as possible.
I kind of always just want a "fix it for me, please" button.
Especially with like security vulnerabilities, like I don't know enough. So
Right.
even when it explains it to me and it's like, here's the
Yes.
7 approaches you can take, I'm like, which one should I
Yeah.
take? I have like
Ex-
analysis paralysis.
explain it to me like I'm five. Yes. Exactly. And
Yeah,
obviously, like it's not without worth noting. It's worth noting that AI did build this whole pipeline, but there we needed to go in there and say, oh yeah, we want to use this other package.
right.
We need to change the standard. Like it. I always like to say that um, there still needs to be a human at the wheel when you're running when you're doing
Human in the loop.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
Um,
and especially in this case, like this was a great example of like you needed someone with the subject matter expertise. And so you needed to know what WP standards are and where
yeah.
they come from and what the different options are and what sniffs are missing. And so if someone like myself who hasn't looked at that in like 4 years, I'd be like, wait, I don't really know what it's telling, like where to begin to fix this error. So I would continuously keep prompting to try to get that
Right.
fixed.
Right.
Or I would Google it and find a Stack Overflow and try something different. And so, when people worry about whether or not they're going to be replaced by AI, especially some of the more agentic AI like workflow, which is in beta, I tell them like you still need subject matter expertise because at the end of the day, you do need to review what it is that it's giving you, because it may not work out of the box in the way that you intended, right? Like your prompt didn't specify which standards. So
Yeah, it just guessed, and it guessed correctly, but it still was a guess, and there's still
some
work that we
tweaking.
needed to. Yeah, we still need to get there. Well, this has been great. I loved having you on. I love digging into GitLab a little bit deeper. I will fix all of my broken code. And
Yeah, I mean, we maybe should have, in hindsight, set up some of those variables ahead of time. It's been a while since I pushed a remote repository, so I hadn't thought of that.
yeah, I mean it's fine, and it gives me some homework to do, and I like homework. That's cool.
Some
Um,
things that Duo cannot do for you is set up
exactly.
your variables.
Right. Yeah. Create my put my correct SSH key in GitLab, please. That's just a thing it can do. Um, where can people find you online? Do you want people to find you online? And what sorts
Yeah,
of things?
absolutely.
Yeah.
If you have questions about the stuff that we talked about in this video, feel free to leave a comment, and and Chris and I will keep an eye on the comments if you watch this in the future, and I'm happy to respond directly on YouTube. But if you have you want to chat one-on-one, or if you just want to connect, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn or Blue Sky. I am Sugar Overflow on all of the places. If you find a Sugar Overflow on a domain that is not me, let me know, because I will buy them out.
Similarly, I'm Jazz Sequence on most of the things. How you spell Jazz Sequence is sometimes different on some of the things, but I'm mostly Jazz Sequence on the internet. It's been great having you on, Fatima, and look forward to future collaborations. And yeah, if anybody has questions, you know where to find us. Thank you for being here, and happy coding.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Chris. This was really fun.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.